Yesterday we found slope from an equation and a graph, and today we're going to look at finding slope from a table. Now, we defined slope yesterday. We talked a lot about it as rise over run, and we should have also talked about it as the change in the y values over the change in the x values. It's a ratio of the change in the y over the change in the x. Whoops. There we go. Sorry about that. I think it refocuses every time I put my hand underneath it. And you see the triangle everywhere because a triangle means change. So when you see a triangle, the change in y over the change in x. Very important that you're writing this down. Even if you don't have the note template, you need to have these things written down in your notebook. So it's actually, tables look confusing, but they're a lot easier than they actually look, okay? So all we have to do is find the change in our y values, find the change in our x values, and then write it as a ratio, okay? Now, you can pick any 2 points. They do not have to be points right next to each other, but you do want to make sure that you're using the y values from the same 2 points and the x values from the same 2 points. Each one of these rows is basically an ordered pair. All right? Okay, so ask yourself, what are we doing to get from 3 to 5? And I hope that's really easy. I hope you realize we're adding 2. Okay, what are we doing to get from -2 to 1? We are adding 1. These are my change in my y's. This is my change in my x. What goes on top? Y goes on top. So we're going to say 2 over 1. And so we talked about that slope is represented with the letter M, and 2 over 1 simplifies to just simply 2. So our slope is 2. Okay, let's look at the next one. Now I'm still just going to choose the first 2 points, but in a minute we'll look at choosing some different points. So again, let's find the change in our y values. What are we doing to get from 5 to 2? We are subtracting 3, and that's really important because remember yesterday we talked about that negative slopes are angled this way. Okay, what are we doing to get from -3 to -2? We are adding 1. Okay, and now to write our slope, we put the change in y, -3 over 1. And so that slope would simplify to -3. Okay, very easy, right? Okay, let's look at the next group. Now, just to be different, let's pick some different points. Remember, it doesn't have to be 2 right in a row, although it's easier, right? You can pick any 2 points. Let's still pick 2 right in a row, but let's pick these 2 points. Okay. What am I doing to get from -9 to -5? I am adding 4. I'm adding 4 because we're going up. What am I doing to get from 3 to 4? I am adding 1. Change in y over change in x, so it'd be 4 over 1. So the slope is 4. Now, I know on all of these problems so far, the change in x has been adding 1 every time, but I just want you to realize it's not always 1. Don't assume that it's always 1, okay? Okay, let's look at this next one. Now, these are all 6s. So let's just make this fun, and let's pick this point to use and this point to use. It's not going to matter. To get from 6 to 6, that's nothing, right? We're not adding anything. This one's a little unique one. And to get from 0 to 4, what do? We're adding 4. So the change in y over the change in x, 0 over 4. Now, this is one of those special ones. 0 over 4, if you're not sure and you don't remember, type this in your calculator. 0 divided by 4. And what you will see is that 0 divided by 4 is 0. This is a horizontal line. This is our 0 slope that we're talking about. And one thing I like to remember, because sometimes we get this one confused with the other one, is if we have 0 on top, and let's say another number on bottom, remember this is when I'm happy. Mrs. Adams is happy because she's standing, this should be an X, right? She's standing on her feet, she's good to go, she's walking, that's a 0 slope. Okay? But what you're going to see on this one, let's look at this one now. And again, just for fun, let's just pick 2 points that aren't together. So I'm going to use these 2 points. The change from 6 to 10 is adding 4. The change from 5 to 10 is 0. So the change in y over the change in x. Now, if you type this in your calculator, which I would encourage you to do that so that you can see what it looks like. Do 4 divided by 0. You're probably going to get a message that says something like this: undef or undefined. Okay? And that's because 4 is not divisible by 0. It's not possible to do that. So this slope is undefined, or this would be one where we say, where we say it is no slope. Remember from our picture yesterday, this is a vertical line. And so just a funny little thing, you know, if we, to draw a picture to kind of help you, this is when Mrs. Adams would be upside down and she'd be saying, help me, I'm falling off the cliff. Okay, because it's that straight up and down slope. Okay, and so that is finding slope from a table. And so now we're going to look at some examples.